You do a little check.
A mic check?
Check. Nice.
Check.
Alright. Alright, feeling good?
Feeling nervous. It's scary.
Alright, sweet. Hello, welcome to another episode of the EJB Talk Show.
We're here.
Today I have a very amazing guest, percussionist, studio sweetheart, Brayden Krueger. How you doing today, man?
I'm good. I'm chilling. It's cold today.
Very cold.
My hand kind of hurts, but other than that, life
hurts
is
like
good.
practicing stuff, or just like
I don't know. Just my left hand is just sore. It's making me sad.
what did you get up to today?
I practiced a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I slept for like 45 minutes in 051.
Nice.
It was nice. It was cold, but it was good. Just chilling. Got a concert tonight.
Sick. How you feeling
Feeling
for it?
good. Oh, just got a text.
Yeah. Bring it off.
Just better turn my
Yeah,
ringer
it's
on.
okay. Keep rolling this show.
What was the question?
What did you get up to today?
Yeah. How am I feeling about the concert?
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. Fine. I think it'll be fine. I think it's my last concert at U of T.
Really?
ever.
You're not in their last concert of the year?
It is. No, this is it. Yeah. No, I'm away for all the other ones. So this is.
Oh man.
This is it. Yeah.
Are you feeling kind of neutral about it? You seem to
Yeah,
feel...
I feel pretty neutral about it. To be honest, it's gonna be fun. I think it'll be a good rap, but like,
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
It is what it is. Yeah.
But so you're in your second year of masters here. Yeah. How have you just like to hear EJB?
Loved it.
EJB U of T music overall.
Yeah. No, I've loved it. The vibe here is amazing. The people are great. I love the courses. It's probably my favorite school that I've been to. I think. Yeah.
In your post-secondary.
It fits me for where I'm at in my life right now. I like how, I don't know, I commute, right? So it's like, it's kind of nice. Mm-hmm. I love it. The academics and the people are like the best.
And when you say like it fits you at where you are in your life right now, like how would you also like?
I don't know. Like I feel like
how would you describe like where you are in your life right now?
Well, I don't know. I'm always like going home and like trying to get sleep. You know? So it's nice that like there's not like a lot of pressure to like go out and like party it up here, which I enjoy because I'm able to take care of myself. But I don't know. I'm trying to make the transition from school into like the professional world. It's been fun, and this place has like allowed me to do those steps, right?
Nice.
Which has been cool. They've been very understanding of like the work that I get and like able to like, accommodate for that, which I really appreciate, which is like why I'm not in the last concerts of the year for anything. And it's why I'm not in percussion ensemble. And it's why I'm not playing in the last U of T or UTSO concert because I'm away. I'll be playing with Hamilton. Right. So, it's cool that they've been able to do that. And I'm like extremely grateful for that. So thank you, U of T. I appreciate that.
So I'm really interested on that professional side of you, but I kind of want to work up a bit chronologically for you. So I always ask this on every episode, but what would you say is your earliest musical memory that like has stuck with you that you could recall? It doesn't even have to be like touching an instrument.
I think I remember I was at there's like these I'm from here. And there's like these musicals that happen every Christmas by this guy like Ross Petty, which are like little like what is it, like fairy tales with like pop music as like the music
originals.
It's like it'll be like I don't know. I remember seeing like Peter Pan, but it has like pop music from the time, like whatever year it is. So it was like early 2000s, and I'm maybe like like 7 or 8, and I just remember like sitting in the audience and just having a great time and laughing and enjoying myself at these musicals. And I remember just seeing the performers, and then we would like drive by and see them come out as like people and we'd be like, oh, there's like the person who played Wendy, and they'd be like, oh my god, like these are people, they get to like do this for a living. And that was really cool. And I think like I don't know, that to me is one of my earliest like moments of like being like, oh, this is like could be a job. That's cool.
Or just like cool
music thing.
Is cool.
Yeah, music is cool. And then I always wanted to be like, my brother was like really into sports.
Okay.
And I could like never beat him at anything.
Anything
was always better. So I was like, all right, I got to do my own thing.
Right.
I got to find my own lane because like I'm just not gonna be able to like be the one in the fam for sports. So that was a big thing. But it was always something like I loved. Like I listened to I guess these are a few musical memories, but I remember listening to like I'm Just a Kid by Simple Plan.
Interesting.
Like loving it. Like pretending I was in the music video, just really enjoying myself, and you know, like yeah, I don't know, just stuff like that.
Right.
Those are definitely like musical memories for me that made me love it.
So from those musical memories, when did it like kind of transition into like you playing an instrument? It is not. I don't even think percussion's your first instrument. It's never.
It was. I started off playing piano,
right.
and I think I've always wanted to be a drummer though. Like I don't really even remember this, but my mom has like a thing, like a little like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was in grade 2 and I wrote drummer, and like
really?
I don't even remember doing that, but I think so. I always wanted to play drums. But
was it because you thought like the guy in the back was cool? What do you think?
I don't know. I remember going to like musicals and seeing like the Pit and being like, that's cool. I remember like my great grandfather was a percussionist and
right.
a drummer, so like, you know, that was really cool to like, you know, deal with or like I don't know, maybe that like got me going and thinking about it. But anyways, they made me play piano for like 4 years. I think they wanted to see me commit to something before they would like buy a drum set
right.
and have their house filled with like a lot of noise and a lot of sound.
Right.
So yeah, that to me was like, I think how I started playing instruments. And then in grade 5 I started playing drum set.
Right.
Yeah, and that's
so then immediately from there you were just like, I'm loving this thing.
Yeah, I loved it. It was awesome. I think it came to me. I really cared about it, and I think it came to me a bit more naturally than piano did, which I really liked, because it felt good to like actually, you know, improve and get good at something, which was fun. So yeah, a lot of drum set in the early days for sure.
Right.
We're really getting really busy out here now.
It's okay. they're kind of hearing this. But yeah, so from playing drum kit at that age, like you just kind of kept doing it up until high school, kind of thing.
Yeah,
like, it was just a thing.
It was something I would do for fun. You know,
yeah.
It was like just like my hobby. I would like, you know, I'd play sports once a week, and I would have a drum lesson once a week, and I always played in like bands and stuff. So like, you know, I was able to like in like grade 6, I had a band, and like
really,
yeah.
You formed your own little thing.
Yeah, we had a little band. We played like Wonderwall.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good. It was sick. It was great.
Right.
Yeah, like it was just playing a lot of bands and stuff, and then I still had like band class, and that kind of introduced me more to like, you know, reading percussion music and like, you know, playing like snare drum and bass drum and marimba and xylophone and stuff like that, like in grade 7 and 8.
Right.
And then in high school, I definitely got more involved in the band stuff because we had like a band program at my high school, right? So it was like, that's where I got, you know, that's where I started like playing like tambourines and stuff like that. And it was never something that like, I think I lost touch with like the little grade 2 kid who was like, I want to be a drummer, because it wasn't, I don't remember thinking about this stuff really in my like teenage years. I wasn't like, until like grade 11, that's when I was kind of like, okay, maybe I will do music, but I wasn't really sure, you know. I was just kind of like, nah, there's not a lot of money, like I don't really know. But
up until grade 11, was there like just nothing circulating for post-secondary options?
Not really, no. Yeah, it was kind of just like, I was like, oh, I have to start thinking about this. Okay.
You kind of just put it off?
Yeah.
Until it got kind of bad, where it's like, I need to decide now.
Well, it was like, I think I remember being at I didn't, no one like, I don't know, my parents weren't really musicians, and so they didn't really know, like, I never really, I think the way I see it is like, I would just see people, and I didn't really know what a career in music looked like, you know? So like, for example,
and
like
were there probably not many people around you.
No one was. Like, no, my parents, no one in my family really did it. Like, so it was just sort of me, and my parents, I guess, were like a little bit worried, you know, that like, oh, like, well, what is he gonna do? Right? So like for me, I think I had to justify to them that I needed to, like, so I was like, oh, I'll be a high school music teacher. That was like my first decision when I was gonna go into music. I was gonna do it
with most of these interviews.
Yeah, I was gonna do it to do music education and be a high school music teacher, so I can like get money and like
just love music every day
and like go in and teach kids, and it'll be great. And that was also you know, my teacher at the time was like my role model for like what a career in music looks like.
Teacher as in private teacher, or
no,
like
my high school teacher. Actually, I stopped taking private lessons from grade 9 to grade 11, and then in grade 12 I picked it up again to like redo, to like get me back in shape for university auditions. But I don't know, I just didn't take drum lessons. I like I stopped. So and then like I felt like it was enough already being there in like my music program at school, right?
Right.
So yeah.
So, you know, entering your first year of Laurier, like how, as a player, like would you like, you kind of just go in blind and just like completely like, like you're not, you don't know the ropes of like marimba solo rap or even orchestral music.
I knew nothing.
Even.
I didn't know orchestral music. I was like a drum set player with like band experience, and that was really
just, like rock, like popular music and
I
stuff
played
like
a lot of rock,
know?
like a lot of pop punk. Like that was my thing. I liked how choppy that was. So I think I had hands from that, like from like learning like this like kind of fast natured like music of pop punk. But
like now you're going to school.
Yeah.
But like basically everyone around you is just like they know classical music.
Yeah. And I think that's maybe why this place, I don't know if this place would have worked for me in undergrad, because I feel like you kind of have to have a better idea of what you want to do. Whereas like Laurier to me was a place where I could go and like explore options. But also at the time, like going in, it was like high school music teacher. It wasn't until like my second year that like I remember my teacher Brennan came up to me and was like, you know, like, hey, like, you know, you could do this for a living. And I was like, what? And he's like, you could play. And I was like, what? What do you mean? And I had no idea. And I think like at that moment I was like, okay, like I could do this. Like, okay, what does that mean? What does it look like? What should I do? And then from then on it started to piece together a little bit more. And I didn't try the orchestral thing until like my third year.
Right.
And then that was like my first time playing excerpts, playing an orchestra, kind of understanding like that whole world. And then I think from then on it was kind of like, okay, I want to be a performer. Like, and then and again, it was more like it went from being a high school teacher to being a university teacher. That was like the new goal, right? I was like, oh, I could do this.
Is that still kind of the goal?
Kind of, but like through the orchestral world, right? Rather than through the academic world. But it was like, you know, I had this moment of like, oh, I have to do this for a living. I can now, and this is like crazy. And I think like just the role model changed, you know, like an idea of what a career in music was changed. And I think for me,
your perspective changed.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I think like for me, the way I saw it was like, I didn't really like know orchestral music would be the way.
Right.
It would like, you know, it was sort of like, I had the list of, I could kind of see myself doing anything.
Right.
And then I kind of like would
anything
cross off.
music related.
Yeah. And I would just like cross off things, you know? So like, I remember I went to like a seminar where a lot of people were playing marimba, and it was like 2 weeks of that. And I remember just after that being like, yeah, I don't think I don't think I have the hands, but I also don't really want to be a marimba soloist, you know? Like that, okay, we'll cross that off. Like, okay, maybe a solo career just in general, like, isn't really my thing, or like, you know, maybe, and then I kind of, you know, saw chamber music ensembles, and I was like, yeah, you know, maybe that's, you know, that's fun, but like maybe, I don't know, there's something about the security of like, you know, getting a job in an orchestra,
an audition,
but then I started taking auditions, and that shit like is amazing. It's super fun for me. I really enjoy it.
But so like it's cool having you on, like saying that, because like it kind of clears the air of that comment that Jacob had in the first episode where he was like, I think Brayden, like, he definitely had said it out. Like, he definitely did.
No.
And I've talked to you before, and I didn't say it in the episode. I was like, no, I know Brayden. That's not
calling
Brayden.
You out, Jacob.
But it's really interesting though, because I, you know, from knowing you, but also like what you're saying now, a lot of your experience of interest in music and like your love of music that grew was really stemmed from like popular music and all that, and just making like music was the fun thing to do. And even like when you were on the CBC's 30 under 30 list, you know, congratulations again for that. But you like shouted out like Tyler the Creator on that. And like popular music is still something that like matters to you. So like how from there, you know, popular music generally when you play it, it's like the fun thing, but like it's still music, and you're kind of in a place of your life where music is work, right? And you're like on the hour for it. How has that kind of shift affected you? And maybe kind of like go through like the growing stages of it becoming like work for you.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that I want to say, and I'm just trying to figure out like how to say it. I think for me, I always try and connect with like the fun part of it, even when I'm playing with an orchestra, because I want to make that like little kid in me happy, you know, that he's like doing what he wanted to do, and that's play music for people, right? And I think like always connecting with like the fun side of it. And I do think like classical music can have that fun aspect of it that pop music has.
Orchestral music, or even
it's
like
awesome.
solo.
It's amazing. But I think we're like the distinction between the two often gets like. Also, I just want to double check. I'm actually okay. Cool. I'm currently recording.
Yeah. It's okay.
The distinction I think really lies when you like with the audience perspective of it, whereas like you go and you watch like when you watch both of these music like these types of music live, like even though like like something like Scheherazade still slaps just as hard as like Tyler.
Yeah.
It's like when you go see it live, it's a very different experience.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that to me is where like the whole idea of like, oh, well, classical music isn't as fun, it's more proper. Like, yes, it's like, I do think, because I do still play like indie music and stuff like that too. And I think like you just have to approach them with you have to find the fun in different ways. So for me, like the fun in classical music is the idea of like getting it to be as
nailing notes,
as nailing it, and getting myself to be like as like strong of a player as I can be. That is what's going to get me to connect with the audience and really translate what's on the page versus like when I'm playing like an indie thing, it's more like about like, okay, how can I create like just a good vibe for everybody, And I think like I often take things from like each genre and like, because I also played a bit of jazz too, so like there's things that like kind of just like, you just pick and choose from each genre, and I don't know, like mixing it up and stuff is fun. But I think like the connecting with like the fun part of it for me is like what it is. Like I remember I played an opera this summer with Saskatoon, and we were doing Carmen, and I did like we played it was like 2 weeks of a run of this show, and like I remember just it never being perfect, which really frustrated me. But then I kind of was like, wait, no, that's what's fun about this, is that like it's a challenge, like you have to do this like 2.5 hour like mental focus where you can't slip up.
And then when you nail it, it's like,
and when you nail it, it's great.
Feeling.
And I mean like I don't think like I don't ever want it to be perfect though, because then I feel like there's never a place for me to keep going and pushing me. Whereas like I feel like one thing I think I like about it is that I have like the thing I like about music is that I don't know it, I can't, I'll never figure it out fully. There's always going to be something to like get better at, and I feel like if I'm ever at a place where I'm like, I know how to play percussion, I really need to like take another look at myself and be like, well, wait, because I feel like there's just so much out there that you can
relax, man.
There's so much out there that you can do, and I feel like that to me is like what is so compelling about the classical side specifically is how much it pushes me and how much it like gets me to really think about like what phrasing is, what like how can I convince someone what's on this page, like things like that. Like that to me is like really getting into that detail. That to me is like the fun part about it. I don't know.
Was there also, a point?
So I just want to say, like, it's really hard to, like, if you're getting paid to just do this, like, you get some perspective, man. Like, if you mess up, like, life's okay, but if, like, a doctor messes up, like, someone dies, like, what I mean? Like, it's okay. Like I don't know. Life is good when you're just getting paid to play shaker. Like, it's hard to find something to, like, complain about, and it's, I don't know, some people do though, and I don't get it. But anyways,
was there a point in your development that kind of like you kind of struggled making that divide in perspective of performing music, or was it a bit like kind of like an immediate switch, like, okay, I know now?
Like when, what do you mean? Like
perspective of like, oh, like what you said about making like performing popular music, performing classical music, and like finding the fun in each. Did you automatically just like
no, it's something I had to like remind myself a lot of, because you do get caught up. It's easy to get caught up in that, like, oh, this is my job, like this is something I do, like, oh, this sucks, like, you know what I mean? If like, oh, I have to go perform, like, I have to go sit and count rests, and like, oh, I'd rather like be at home watching TV. It's like, I don't know, like I've had those thoughts for sure, but like I always just tell myself to like shut up. Like
young Brayden,
get over it. Like you're doing what you love. Like this is great. You could be in an office hating your job.
Exactly.
So to me, it did take some practice, and you do have to remind yourself of that. And I try to keep. And it's like, I think it's something that like you have to keep in practice. Like I think if you start to like, not remind yourself of these things. It's very easy to get caught up in like the negative things, but I'm also just a generally positive person, so like for me it's easy to just be like, well,
find
this
the
is
silver
great
lining in anything, right? But because that's really interesting, because percussionists, more than most orchestral instruments out there, we have like a percentage of us have a background in like drum kit. And well,
we all come from different backgrounds, which is why it's so interesting.
But like most of us, that's true too. But like with that drum kit background, like it's such like a free, like that's a very important kind of step, and like that's something I really like. I'm very happy that this is here, that I can just go back to this and like hear you say that, because that would be very valuable to me, and probably just like any musician. Like that's very sick.
Yeah, you gotta love it.
Yeah,
you have to love it, and if you can't, force yourself.
It's not bad to. It's not bad to force yourself to love music. I had a conversation with someone recently. She was a violinist. Of course I'm not gonna say her name, but she was just kind of complaining like, oh, I have this rehearsal, and I'm like, no, it's like you get to have rehearsal. It's cool. Like, and I'm like, it shouldn't be arguable that like people in the school should love music more. It's like that's not an argument I think you should like argue, in my opinion. Like loving music is not a bad thing.
No,
right?
No, it's really not.
But so from Laurier, you went to GGS. Right. So how was your time there?
I mean, COVID was, took up half of that, but I enjoyed it.
In your personal development?
It was great. I mean, well, like, a lot went down.
As good as it could be.
Yeah, as good as it could be, like, I think it was in those moments where I really, like, I mean, at first, it was like the first third of it was great because that's when there was no pandemic and things were going fine, and I started to take auditions, and I definitely enjoyed how much free time you had over there to really focus on practicing.
Right.
And the facility was great, and Charles was a fantastic teacher. I think, like, for me, I came from a very, like, social school at Laurier, so I went there and I was expecting sort of, like, similar social vibes, but I think it was just different, and it took me a while to, like, adjust to that, and it was just very small, which I also didn't. I don't know, I like having a separation between, like, musical life and then, like, the rest of life, and for me in that space, it kind of oftentimes would feel like there wasn't much of that, and which would often mean that, like if I wasn't playing well, if I wasn't feeling good, like those things were connected, which I didn't really like.
Right.
And it was a place where I needed to figure out like how to separate like music Brayden and like rest of life Brayden. And then COVID came along and just like forced me to do that, because, I was like,
what else is there to do?
Yeah, and I was like sad that I wasn't performing. I was sad I wasn't, getting where I wanted to be in my life. And it was just like, well, like, maybe you need a healthier relationship where this can't be your everything. You can't put your entire self-worth on this like one thing that you do, because if you do it poorly one day, then you're gonna collapse. So it really helped me to like understand this like other side of me, which I really liked, like just Brayden the person. And then but overall, like, it was good, but it definitely forced me to focus on orchestral music too. And I remember I had the choice between like GGS, the Boston Conservatory, and DePaul, and it was sort of like, okay, like, again, at that moment when I was making those decisions, I still didn't know. It was more of just like, okay, whatever institution I end up going to will kind of decide for me, like, how I'm gonna
after that will look like.
Yeah, so like, at GGS, it's not really a place, like, that's a place where you go to study like orchestral music and take auditions. It's not a place where you go to like really start a chamber ensemble or something, right?
That's BOCO.
Yeah, so like for me it was like I kind of let the school decide. So like in that moment, that's when I was like, all right, now I'm gonna do like orchestral stuff.
Right.
This is now what I'm doing.
Right.
And it allowed me to focus on that, and I'm really grateful it happened. Because I really do think that was the best place for me to go, and I really do think that like orchestral music is where I am at my best, So it's definitely like it was the right choice, and it really narrowed it down, and I think that allowed me to focus in even more and put all this energy I had going to all these different facets of music into like one tunnel that I could really focus on, which was good.
How could you describe like orchestral music being at like kind of your forte in that sense, like, and also maybe even like put a little touch in of like your process, like does it kind of have to do with like your process with auditions and playing
well, I love taking auditions. I think it's really fun. I like that part, but like playing in the orchestra is something that I really enjoy.
Is that like mostly it?
Well,
what do you think?
I don't know, because I think about this because like I'm not very good at like reading, right? So like anything that involves reading, I kind of like shit the bed on. But And I feel like you with like excerpts, I don't know, I love how short they are, and I work a lot on memory, so it's really nice to just have a little short, little like memory snippets, right? Like I love that. To me, that's really interesting. And
or if you don't memorize, it's easier to read.
It's easier to read. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what it is, but I think like, I don't know. Maybe I could be a drum set player too, or something. But this is just what I'm doing now. So it's like
what you're doing now, but you can still play drum set. That's the thing,
which I do, and I'm happy. I'm still able to connect with that. But like, I don't know, play like. I love how many different instruments there are. Like that allows you to like, you know, like keep focusing on like you know, getting good at tambourine or like triangle or snare drum or xylophone. Like there's so many things that you can really focus on and work on, which I really like because I like being pushed, and I feel like I feel like playing in the orchestral environment like pushes me more. Whereas like if I feel like if I played in like a more lax environment, like I wouldn't have like, I'm a very like externally like motivated goal kind of person. Whereas like I like to have like things to shoot for, and I feel like that the way that like whole process works is that it just sets you up with things to shoot for, right? Like you get your concert music, you prepare, and then you perform, you know?
Right.
And then it's the same, and it's different the next time. Right. And then it's a different set of music, and you prepare and you perform, and then it's different, and you prepare and you perform. And I like that versus like, you know, playing stuff that's like, I don't know, there's beauty in all of it. There really is. So, but for me, this is just like what I'm doing right now, and that just happens to be that. Yeah. And that's just it. So I don't really know. Yeah.
So, you know, you had your 2 years at GGS, and I think it was your last year when you won the Saskatoon principal audition.
No,
right?
No, it was my first year here.
Oh, okay.
It was last September.
So wait,
September 2021.
Like, after GGS, though, how come you decided to like pursue a master's here?
Because it was a pandemic. And I didn't have a master's yet. I was on an artist diploma, and I do want to teach at a university, and I think that like having the master's like helps with that. Okay. But also like, I was graduating into a pandemic. There was no auditions. There was nothing happening. Like, I need gear. Yeah. You know, and so it was just something else, and it was something to do during my time at GG, like in the second year when there was nothing going on. Like nothing. It was like, well, might as well
preparing a master's audition.
Yeah, like. Might as well do this. So and I'm really happy it worked out, and I'm really happy I'm here because it's really good. I think this is the spot to be, and it's
how would you describe like the educational, like your personal musical educational shift from GGS to here, or even just like Laurier, GGS, then UFT? Like,
I think Laurier was like fundamentals, you know, a lot of like technique, a lot of like, you know, we weren't playing like the hardest stuff there. I wasn't playing the hardest stuff there, but I was playing stuff that I could like, I was biting off things I could chew, and I was still getting pushed, and that was really good. That was all about like fundamentals, and then like GGS was more like refinement of those fundamentals, and then UFT is more like how to be a professional. I find like here I'm like, I think like here it's
you're working with the people to do it, you know.
Yeah, it's great, and it's like more of like how do I operate on like a professional level, and I think just having like the ability to like have the flexibility with my schedule here, so I can like do my work stuff, and then also, you know, still take auditions, but then also like come here and get my master's. And I really like that. Right. And I think like playing wise, here's just even more refinement, you know, it's just now like a lot of more refinement on like the audition process. That's been a big focus here. And it's like less about like technical development now, but like I still feel my chops growing, like, cause I'm like playing music that's like harder for me, and like that's fun to do that. But I think that's like the best way I could describe it. Right. Like fundamentals, and then just kind of like a, you know, like a triangle. Right. Reverse triangle, like they tell you to do with your introductions.
So that's like UFT, but like how would you describe your time being principal at Saskatoon overall?
Learning a lot too. Yeah.
Like how have you
definitely enjoyed it? I've loved it so far, and I'm really thankful for it, and I'm really thankful to that institution for allowing me to like also get a master's. Right. You know, so like that's
kind of both.
It's great. Yeah, they're both great. I think it's definitely a learning experience. Like, I think, you know, it wasn't the biggest audition, but I still think winning that audition was really good. Yeah. Because it was like, it kind of taught me like, oh, like nothing changes. I'm still just me. You know, like I totally had this idea that like things are going to change when right? Like, and then, you know, I remember sitting there and being like, I'm the same. It feels like a birthday, you know?
Brayden Krueger, the guy.
Like it feels like a birthday. It's like you think it's coming, and you're like, oh, one day I'm going to be like 20, and then like you turn 20 and you're like, oh, this is the same, you know? And then that's what it felt like. But it, like, on the job though, it's been really great. Like learning how to like run a section, I think has been really cool. Like learning how to like, you know, enhance everyone else that's there, how to like be organizing and assigning parts, like the whole logistical side of it, like, you know, making sure that your gear is like repairing your gear and making sure that it's in good quality, and like setting up your section, like that whole thing, and organizing everything, putting it away. That's been great. But like also learning how long it takes for me to learn a concert program, you know, like understanding like how much prep I need to put in and what I need to look at and what I don't need to look at and what to prioritize,
Right.
and how to like balance all the different, you know, pieces of music that I got to learn. I think that's been a big thing. And yeah, I've just really enjoyed that. We should probably wrap it up soon, by the way. I gotta set up.
But you gotta set up, yeah.
But we can wait a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Sorry, UTSO guys, I'll be there soon.
I was gonna like after that. That was like my last question for the last
I think like the preparation part has been good, and also learning, like I also am using it as a place to like really learn how to get better at like actually playing in an orchestra.
Yeah.
Like learning how to like listen to the other side of the stage, learning like how to play in a certain hall, learning how to project my sound, learning how to like, you know, lock in with like flutes, violins, and that kind of thing. That's been the biggest learning experience for me. Learning how to like also optimize my performance, where it's like I'm not making as many mistakes, you know, like that to me has been a thing where it's like I find like the less and less, you know, I care about making mistakes, the less and less mistakes I actually make. I think just learning that attitude, and like definitely like demystified it a lot, you know, which has been great. But
all right, man.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Amazing answers. I love that. But I'm gonna ask that final question. I ask this question every time.
Okay.
What are some personal musical goals you have for yourself for the end of the year, from now to the end of the year?
I think, well, I mean, I just want to have like a better idea of where I'm gonna live, like musically, I guess, you know, and that just happens to coincide with musical goals. I mean, I really want to, like, this is my last semester of school ever, so I told myself going into this semester, like, I just really want to enjoy it, and just have fun and talk to people and enjoy myself every time I'm in this building, and not get upset with myself when I'm in this building, you know, like, just enjoy it for what it is. Like, professionally, I mean, there's, like, some auditions coming up with, like, Edmonton, and I'm on trial in Hamilton, so that's trying to maybe get that to work out, or there's this audition in Toronto that seems interesting, and also waiting to hear back on like the Royal Stockholm Philharmonic Academy. Like I applied there, so it's like there's really like sort of like 4 things that I'm kind of like they're gonna again dictate what happens. Whatever one kind of works out is gonna be the one that I end up, you know, going into that next chapter of life with. So, you know, it kind of just depends on. I don't know. That does that answer the question? Like, it's sort of the 4 musical goals
answers
there.
It perfectly. Actually,
those are sort of the things I'm open on. Get, but just enjoy it the whole time. That's the biggest thing. But
you've been an amazing guest.
Thank you.
An amazing guest.
You've been an amazing host.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm very happy with this one.
I'm very happy we did it.
But so Brayden Krueger, everyone, check him out. His Instagram is down below. If you see him here,
it's deactivated, so it's not down below.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have a website? Nothing.
No.
Okay. No. Well, if you
can like tag the Instagram, but it's not going to be like.
Yeah. Fuck it.
Yeah.
But if you see him at EJB, you know, say hi. He's a nice guy.
Hey.
Say that you saw him on the talk show if you haven't before.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah. But that'll be it on this episode of the EJB talk show. Another great episode. Thank you so much, man.
I'll send you this. Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Woo. Let's go.